Welcome back to the most audacious EMS podcast on planet Earth, the Paramedic AF Show. We are here to challenge, encourage, and sometimes hurt your feelings. This isn't for the weak, the woke, or the apathetic. This is a show for the ones who show up and give a damn, the bold and the brazen. So stand up, stay vigilant, and enjoy the show. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Daniel. I don't really know what to call this because this is not a full PAF episode, but it's also not a shift short or listen Linda because obviously I'm at home and not at work. So just wanted to reach out and let you guys know we're good, we're alive. We just got power back on this weekend. We still don't have internet, so uploading is kind of a bitch right now, but we're figuring it out. We're going to be back to our normal routine of listen Lindas and shift shorts coming out during this week. And then next weekend is when we'll do a longer, like actual full episode together. So just be patient. It's been a lot. No, we've been lucky. We haven't had things as bad as a lot of people. But, you know, it's still impacted our lives and still changed things around for us. So we're just making the best with what we got. But we're good. Everything's going to be back on schedule. Promise. Nothing bad's going to happen moving forward. The reason I wanted to record today, have you ever had those moments, those times in your life when you have a sequence of events and conversations and articles and readings, all that come together and give you kind of a united theme, like, it's all, whether you want to call it the universe is sending you a message or just you're just in that space where you see a lot of connections for things that didn't make sense before, that you just didn't see as connected before. Well, that's kind of what this weekend has been for me. Michelle and I were talking last night about the topic of reframing. So anybody who, engages in psychology, psychotherapy, all of that, you are probably familiar with the term reframing. And it's where you take, you can take objectively events that happened and be able to change the lens with which you look at them. And by doing that, you're able to take things that are unfortunate events, awful things, and turn them into something powerful and good in your life. You can still acknowledge the negative effects of it, the bad things that happen, but be able to draw something from it that is beneficial, is good for you, rather than wallowing in it and letting it just spiral out of control in your life. And so that whole discussion, which we'll talk about more later, it kind of flowed together with a lot of things I'd already been chewing on this week, and some things that were really starting to come together. I know it's not necessarily a huge epiphany in life, but with it's something that it all was very relevant to what we talk about here and what we're doing in our projects. So this is not going to be a long episode. It's not a script. Well, none of our episodes are truly scripted, but I've made a lot of notes because there's a lot of things I want to talk about in here, and I think I can get through it fairly quickly. But there's a lot to go through. So obviously, let's dive in with what's the first thing on people's minds right now, and that is Helene, all of the post-storm effects. And whether the effects of this on your life were short-lived or whether they're life-changing, this has been an unprecedented experience for everybody. And it was kind of ironic, with September as a whole being hard for us. Like Michelle and I did not have a great September. Not like between her and I per se, just it was a long month. There was a lot that happened. There was a lot of things we had to go through and work through, and it's been fucking tough on us. And the irony of it being September being Mental Health Awareness Month, and then we bookend that month with all of this. So, this whole debacle has definitely been a tough time for us. And we're beyond grateful that what we have gone through is mild in comparison to what others are still dealing with now. I had a friend of mine, at work talk about the fact that his family has bodies that washed up on their property. Not like, they were hiding bodies, just bodies that of people who were killed during the storm washed up on their property. Another friend who had a whole section of their family that was isolated in North Carolina and they had no word from them. The entire town, not just those group of people, but the entire town was closed off completely. Radio silence it was a couple of days, like almost a week, that they didn't hear anything. And so, and other friends even close to us who weren't part of the flooding per se, but who have lost their homes. Sorry, the dog is wanting to be all up and get the attention. So if the camera shakes a little bit, that's from him. So anyway, um, so right now everybody is just dealing with a lot of shit, and our hearts go out to everybody who's actually dealing with some heavy stuff. Yeah, we sustained some house damage. Like, it wasn't a easy, chill thing for us. Why are you coming up and making a problem? Seriously, dude. I love you, but no. What? You gonna say hi to everybody? Yeah. Okay. Um, but it's been a lot for everybody. Will you back it up? Seriously. So rude. Um, but wherever you are in this, whether this has been a life-changing thing for you or is short-lived, just hang on. You're not alone. Everybody's struggling right now. And this is going to pass. And we are all going to be stronger through it. We are going to get better through all of this. I know this brings out the worst in people a lot of times, but it also brings out the best. So keep being the best. Keep what's the right way to say it? Like, be the person who demonstrates the best in humanity through all of this. Um, and I kind of had an epiphany this week, and I wanted to share it with you because without power and consistent internet coverage, being without power and consistent internet coverage, I to me it was a time to unplug. It was a time where I said, okay, there's certain things I can't deal with now. I can't focus on. I can't address that right now. So, so it allowed me to just mentally decompress a little bit. As I know we talk about it a lot, we kind of joke, but between working multiple jobs and trying to run this project and have a software company that I'm working on as well, it's a lot. My days off are not my own, and not to mention there's still a household to run with kids and their own lives and schedules, and it's a lot. So it's definitely not been an easy time, but it was good to just say, okay, well, there's only a finite number of things I can focus on today. So I'm just going to focus on them, and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. That's all I'm going to worry about. And I was able to spend some time focusing on myself, on the family, on things that are important to us. And I wanted to share a realization I had with you. And as you know, we purposefully avoid discussing religion on this show. Sure, on my personal page, I say things that are going to offend multiple groups of people, not just religious groups of folks, but a lot of demographics of people. And I'm a hardcore libertarian who believes in the First Amendment and the freedom to speak my mind on things, and I do that. But on this page, we try to avoid dealing with the topic of religion outright. And today's probably going to be one of the only times you hear me talk about my personal religious beliefs at all. But I was doing some reading, and I was kind of rereading a narrative about the creation of the universe as described in my personal faith. And I'll forego all the details, and it's kind of frustrating because when people hear Norse paganism, Asatru, however you want to call it, they instantly their brains instantly jump to Marvel and those versions of Thor and Odin and all of that stuff, and that's unfortunate. But in looking at my faith's story of the creation of the world and of the universe, I'll forego all the details, but we'll include a link in the show notes of this if anybody is interested in going and learning about the story of Ymir and the revolt of Odin and Vili and Ve. But as I was reading this, I walked away with an appreciation for the fact that life is a continuous cycle of death and rebirth, and not just death like blandly speaking, but a revolution against the status quo. In that story, that narrative, Odin and his brothers revolt against their father Ymir to say, hey, like, this existence that you've created is not enough. This is not right. This is not what we believe. We believe that there's more out there. And then they revolt against their father and ultimately, kill him and create something new, create something special. And this concept of revolting against the status quo, in order to achieve what can be, we have to deconstruct what is. And sure, there are good things that exist in the present that should be carried on into the future, but we must be willing to destroy the things that we currently accept as normal in order to achieve something more, in order to build a better, brighter future. So how the hell does this apply to EMS? I swear that's all the outright religious talk. It's for decades, public service and especially EMS and the related disciplines have progressively destabilized. We've talked about even as the medicine has progressed, we've lost our heart and soul as an industry. And no, not every person. There's plenty of good people out there still running calls. There's plenty of good people out there that are actively making a difference every day. And we see this, highlighted in what's going on in Western North Carolina right now, where really the worst of the damage ultimately in the part of the country where we are has occurred. We're seeing the very best and brightest that are out there making a difference. So it's not saying that there's not anybody, but it's impossible to look at the entirety of public service and EMS culture and not appreciate the fact that we are not well. We haven't been well for a long time. And there you can see all kinds of examples of the infamous greed of private services who prioritize finance over treatment, the abysmal treatment of newcomers by those who should be setting the standard, who should be raising the bar, are actually treating new people in a subhuman way. That's toxic as hell. That's not helping anybody anywhere, but it's a norm that has just been accepted and woven into the fabric of EMS culture. There's the attitude of we need warm bodies in seats running calls, where people don't even really give a shit that you're actually a quality provider as long as you're just out there checking the boxes and running calls. That's not helping anything at all. And then, of course, there's the endless infighting and backstabbing and the ego-inflamed abuse of power and authority on every level. All of it is literally destroying the fabric of public service. And it's not right. It's not fair. Like, and yes, I acknowledge it's the world we live in. We're not in an idealistic world. We're in a real world. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't stand up against these things. And these things, these principles that are currently guiding our industry need to be destroyed. They need to be confronted. They need to be deconstructed, because they're not going to serve us. They're going to make things worse. They're going to perpetuate the mental health epidemic in this industry. They're going to perpetuate the lack of respect for EMS specifically in the community and in the world as a whole. This is stuff we need to fucking deal with. And if we're going to save the future of EMS, we have to destroy who we have been. No, not every single thing, not to where we lose ourselves, but we have to cut out those things that are actively hurting us, those things that we have accepted as normal that shouldn't be. Now, so of course, you listen to all of this, and people can take sound bites from this and and imply all kinds of things. And I'm not saying that we should just shit talk leadership because we don't like them. I'm not saying that we should treat patients like shit because they aren't having an actual emergency. I'm not saying that we turn into anarchist assholes. No, I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is we need a principled revolution of what has been and create what we can be. And this cycle will continue. There's never going to be a time where this cycle isn't essential, because you see it all throughout human history, where empires rise and fall, companies rise and fall, and human life rises and falls. This cycle needs to be perpetuated, but what we're doing is we're clinging on to the way things have been. We're holding so tight that we can't let go of it, and we can't look past the short term to see, hey, this is killing us. This we need to actively deal with. So what does all of this mean? If you followed us for any length of time, you've seen that we're not afraid to step on toes. We do try to be controversial. We go out of our way to do that. And it's not just to be assholes, but it's because we believe there are things that need to be challenged. And the biggest pushback we get is honestly the biggest hurdle we have to deal with as a whole is apathy. Excuse me, not empathy. Apathy. People just don't give a shit. People don't give a shit about it. But as far as active pushback, number one thing I've heard is, you should be trying to work together with everyone. And yeah, we want to unify EMS, but here's the thing. Our purpose is to make this profession new and better in every way, to make the providers new and better, to raise that standard. And this inevitably pisses people off. It will drive people away. It will polarize people. We will make enemies. And yes, we want unity, but not at the cost of our growth and freedom as an industry. I believe with every fiber in my being in EMS. It is what I have spent my entire adult life in. It has been such a huge part of the fabric of my existence that, yes, even though I am spreading into other adventures and ventures and so forth, this at my core is something that I truly give a shit about. And so I'm okay with making enemies. I'm okay with pissing people off and polarizing people, because you can't make everybody happy. You can't. It's impossible. And, because let's face it, there are a lot of people and entities that exist that are not in public service for the right reasons. You've got organizations, both, actual EMS services, publishing entities, training companies, etc., that are more interested in money and control of information than actual growth and change in industry, in the EMS and public service industry as a whole. They give a shit about the money. They don't give a shit about, okay, well, what's the long-term sustainability of this? And when you do that, we've talked about this before, when you focus on the quick dollar, you lose the big dollar. So it's counterintuitive. It doesn't work anyway from a financial perspective. But you have so many of those people, and these are people who thrive on the abuse of power and influence, and they use it to their advantage. You have providers who are narcissistic, unhappy people who will argue for no reason. For no reason. It's not even that they're coming from a principled stance. It's just, I just don't agree with that. Okay, fuck you. Like, it's a free country. Go for it. I don't care. But we need to be upfront and realize that those people are not going to be happy with a positive future of EMS. Most of them are actually working against it actively. You've also got leaders and administrators that don't want to change and will tear down anybody preaching that they should change. They will find ways to undermine and criticize and devalue people that oppose them in any way, shape, or form. So you can't make them happy. And honestly, I have no interest in any of those people that we've just described. I have no interest in them liking us. And I know that sounds harsh, but I don't have any interest in them liking us or supporting us. Now, if they choose to, that's awesome, because then they're demonstrating that at their core, people can grow and change. And that's awesome. And I would love that. But I'm also a firm believer that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him fucking drink. And so, we have to carry ourselves. Michelle and I have to carry ourselves in this in such a way that we can't expect people to change that don't want to. You can't. There's a great quote that I just ran across today from Zig Ziglar, and it reads, "If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you." Now, we're not out here to be popular. We're normal people who run calls out on the street, who believe passionately in what we're preaching. We do everything we can to practice what we preach, because what we're preaching is rooted in our own experience and our own identity, but also in hundreds, if not at this point almost thousands of hours of reading and research and conversations with other people who are doing it the right way, who are exceptional leaders, exceptional providers. No, we're not perfect. We all mess up. Michelle and I mess up, and we have to train and be corrected the same as anybody else. We're not coming at this from a position of, oh, we're all that in a bag of chips. No. But we believe firmly that there is hope out there. There is good in people. There are the people who actually give a damn about the future of this industry. And so, we're here. Yeah, we would love to unify everybody. I would love it if everyone in EMS and in public service as a whole could sit down and say, "Hey, we're here for it. Let's dig into this stuff. Let's dig into these issues, and let's find a resolution together because we all equally care about the outcome." Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. It's not. There is going to be conflict. There is going to be hatred. There's going to be dissension. There's going to be name calling and accusations and all of this stuff. But the whole reason that we started EMS 2.0 is to bring together the people who care about EMS and public service as a whole to create something new, something good and powerful and amazing, not cling on to the quote good old days and try to preserve those things that are actively killing us right now. So I know it's been a hard week and a half for everybody, and we're all raw, we're all upset, we're all agitated. Everybody is on edge, and there's still a long road ahead. And for us here with EMS 2.0, we're not, this has not been easy for us, but we're not only building back, but we're refreshed and ready to come back up swinging, because now is the time that public service and EMS needs support. It needs the people who care deeply to be at the forefront, to be the loudest voices, to be the ones who aren't just talking the talk, but are actually doing things and actually doing good out there. And those are the people that are going to be the most crucial to our survival as an industry. And I know this has been taxing on everybody's mental health. If you need us, if you need to talk to people, whether it's you message us directly, whether it's you go on the Discord page and want to talk through stuff with people, if you're, because I know everybody's dealing with various levels of trauma related to this. Like, this has not been a good situation for anybody. But you're not alone. And if you feel like shit's getting hard, you're not the only one out there. And sometimes just talking through stuff together is enough. It's what you need. So don't be afraid to reach out. Whether it's to us, whether it's to other people, to other like-minded, or I wouldn't even just say like-minded, but just to other people who are in your same situation, to bond together and say, hey, we can do something through this. We can survive this together. Like, I got you. Let's handle this. Don't isolate yourself. Don't put yourself on an island. Reach out for help and talk to people. We have a long road ahead as an industry. We have a long road ahead just locally here in dealing with everything that's happened. Let's do it together. So for everybody who's out there who's, actually got boots on the ground, doing the hard work, be safe, please, be careful. Um, don't stop telling us what you need. Any ways we can help. I say we collectively, everybody. If you're just trying to hold on and take care of your family, if that's all you can do right now, if that's all you have within you to give right now, is just trying to take care of your family, keep your family afloat, fucking awesome. Awesome. That's good. That's healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't feel, you shouldn't feel guilty because you're not out there, boots on the ground, rescuing people and stuff. No, like you're just as much a hero at home as you would be out there helping people that are isolated and trapped. So please be safe, be careful, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.